Mark. I work at one of the Apple retail store. I have received many emails from my friends, my fellow Mac users, my YouTubers on YouTube, asking me about the topics that I really don't want to talk about, which is the Sony PS Vita. I know that if I say things, it's going to cause controversy, and I don't want people to hate me, but if you want a fair comparison, let's get started. I'm going to make it as fair as possible. First, the Sony PS Vita is better than the iPad 3 because before we get to that point, you gotta understand one thing, that the only reason that I pick up this topic, because it's not because I'm an Apple fan and I want to attack Sony. No, because Sony is not Samsung, Sony is not Android, Sony is not our enemy. We can be friends, can be a long-term relationships as a business partner in the future. But interestingly, and surprise, both Sony PS Vitas and the iPad 3 have exactly the same GPU, or graphics processing unit, which is somebody call it graphic chipset or graphic card. So we both have exactly the same GPU. So it might be a good comparison to tell you. So the Sony PS Vita is better than the iPad 3 because first, obvious, it has faster processor. It has the quad-core processor, not quad-core graphic, but quad-core processor. And of course, it's a gaming device. It's been specifically designed as a pure gaming device. So you can play games with your tangible or physical controller or physical joystick or tangible control, whatever you're gonna say, is it's much better than the touchscreen controller or the touch joystick or the touch joypad, whatever you can call it, on the iPad. Because of course, I've been struggling trying to use this playing football game like FIFA 1, Dead Space, Resident Evil. So that's first thing. Thirdly, I love the PS Vita because most of the games, of course, we have seen Resident Evil series on the iPad and they are really suck. Okay? So we don't really care, nobody really cares about, we have some good games, but sometimes when we really want to play a real games, like of course the Street Fighter 4, the Super Street Fighter 4, the latest one on the PS Vita, or Mortal Kombat. These games are awesome. We got better graphic capabilities. When we play things, we got better visual, better graphics, better frame rate. It's awesome as a gaming device and it's really classic. So, what about the iPad 3? First, even though the PS Vita has better processor, but the iPad 3 has more RAMs. The PS Vita has only 512, but the iPad 3 has 1 gig of RAM. That's first. The iPad 3 has larger screen with more pixel, more resolution, which is called Retina display. The iPad 3 has better Bluetooth. The PS Vita has 2.1, the iPad 3 has 4. So we got wider range for Bluetooth. We got more power efficient Bluetooth system. PS Vita supports 3G, but the iPad 3 supports 4G. LTE is up to downlink speed of up to like 73 megabit per second. The iPad 3 has 5 megapixel cameras on the back and VGA cameras on the front-facing cameras, VGA quality. But for PS Vita, we got both cameras in VGA quality. And the PS Vita is designed as a gaming device, but for the iPad 3, it can be, in some aspect, can be a desktop or notebook replacement. We can do word processing stuffs on that. And the worst thing is the Sony PS Vita doesn't have video out feature. So you can't hook it up to your television and enjoy playing games. But the iPad 3 allows to mirrors everything you can see on the screen to your television, your large LED display at home. I can answer this question easily because if Sony Vita decided to put video out features in the PS Vita, there's no one to buy the PS3 desktop gaming console. That's the thing. And the iPad 3 comes packaged with, we get wider range for your app selections up to 600,000 apps. And most of the games, even though some are really suck and bad performance and thing, let's say you want to buy games for Sony PS Vita, you gotta drive to probably Walmart in department store. But for the iPad, you can just sit at home. You can buy any games on earth using your credit card number and download this game for free. And the good news is, if you have enough patience and endeavor, you've been keeping up. Let's say I'm going to use myself as your example. I'm an enthusiastic gamer, so I want to play Dead Space, but I didn't want to pay like $8.99. So I've been keeping up using lots of websites like let's say like the Site Magazine's app, 360 News, Flipboard. I've been trying to keep up with the news and everything. So probably one or a few times a year they release. Let's say I just purchased Dead Space for only like $0.99, so less than $1. So you gotta be keeping up. And the good thing about the iPad 3 is when you buy a game, you bought it, and then the game providers or the company that's produced the game, they will release the new version of the game, like Infinity Blade 2. They release a new version. You get more enemy, you get more weapons and everything. So you can update the game, and most of the games tend to be cheaper compared to the PS Vita. Games on iPad 3 on the Apple App Stores is cheaper, even though they're exactly the same game. These games are cheap, some are free. We got wider selection, more options. This is from my heart, but of course the iPad 3 is more expensive. So you gotta think, if you are an adult, you love to play game like me, you might consider buying the iPad 3. If you're a kid, you want to buy present for the upcoming Thanksgiving or Christmas for your kids, and he doesn't care things about working with processing, Keynote, PowerPoint, you just want to play game, I would suggest the PS Vita. But as an enthusiast gamer, I would say things like, I think I do know what I'm talking about because I play games a lot. I've lost my eyesight because of game. I've been playing Resident Evil 1st to the 5th. I've been playing Final Fantasy 1st to the 13th. I've been playing Dragon Warrior 1st to the end, Dead Space, Crisis, Call of Duty. I'm playing this game, Street Fighter, Fighting, Tekken, lots of game. So I think I do know things that sometimes when we buy a device, it's not about the device itself. Because let's say I buy the iPad, or even I buy the PS3, I buy anything NDS, but if there is no games that available for that device that I want to play, as your friends, please kindly see me as your friend that we are talking in the park. For me personally, you know what? The best gaming device in my dream is not iPad 3, it's not PSP. The best gaming device in my mind, I want to buy the Nintendo DS, but I didn't buy that because I didn't have time to go check and I don't have time to play them all. I wanted to buy the Nintendo DS because there was a game called Dragon Warrior 6 or Dragon Quest 6, and I want to play the game Resident Evil's Deadly Silence. And there is another one device, it's called Nintendo Wii console. I really want to play the Resident Evil first, the remake version of it. And the thing is, when I want to buy a device, I gotta check first how many games that I really want to play on that device. I don't care about quad-core graphics. I don't care about quad-core processor. I don't care about the keyboard, stop, joysticks, whatever the fuck it is. I do care about, if I buy this thing, are there any games available on the market I really want to play? I don't want to buy one device, end up buying 2 games and trying to resell it at the half price. I think that's nonsense, doesn't make any sense. So I hope you got something from my videos. You can compare between PS Vita and the iPad 3. And I think it's been really fair enough. Thanks for watching and have a good night.